This video is the first video in a series of updates to my Parasite SEO Secrets course. And I wasn't really planning on releasing this first update video publicly, at least not yet. However, there's been a lot of misinformation that has been going around the SEO community. And I put that down to the fact that I have maybe unintentionally or maybe intentionally made this topic so damn trending in the community, right? It feels like everybody is talking about Parasite SEO. And it seems that I was kind of the one to kick it all off with my Twitter/X posts and a couple of YouTube interviews that have done pretty well across the industry. And as a result of that, people have been claiming that Google have somehow killed Parasite SEO with the August update, that I have somehow single-handedly ruined the technique and destroyed people's websites. And a few people have been saying nasty things as well that I won't be getting into on YouTube. This presentation is going to be a factual display of what the August core algorithm update actually affected in terms of Parasite SEO at least. Winners and losers in the category, my parasite recycling theory that has been shown to play out time and time again, what you should be focusing on right now, and a quick overview of the September helpful content update that got dropped in us about 12 hours ago as of recording and releasing this here video. And finally, if you want to be able to get access to my Parasite SEO course and get the highest level of returns you have ever got with your SEO campaigns, then there is a $200 discount link in the description down below. So look, without any further ado, let's jump into it. So first of all, I want to clear up some rumours. The biggest rumour being that Parasite SEO is done. It's finished. Google killed it. It's GG, well played. Game over. That is not the case whatsoever. Google has not killed Parasite SEO. It is still working. And as an example of it working so well is this keyword or query, best essay writing service, right? Not only is the feature snippet a Parasite SEO page, not only is the top 3 positions taken over by Parasite SEO pages, but the top 5 positions are all currently controlled by Parasite SEO pages. Give a round of applause to Parasite SEO, right? So in general, this is proof and evidence, and there are multiple niches like this, right? It's not just this niche. There's so many different queries, so many different niches, so many different topics and keywords that are exactly like this, that are still being taken over by Parasite SEO, and that it's still working effectively, right? Google has just made a dent into Parasite SEO. And as you'll see, it's more specific sites that it has made a dent in than others. And in fact, other websites are thriving and have gained from this August core algorithm update. So if we actually compare a month ago for this exact same query, you'll notice that Outlook India, whilst it has dropped in positions, it has replaced the page that it was previously ranking with. So essentially, all it's done is a new page is now ranking in what the old page was previously ranking. And that's going to happen a lot because of how much Outlook India is currently publishing, right? Right now, I mean, we're going to get into this later. Outlook India is publishing over 200 new Parasite pages per day, which in general, and bear in mind that some of those 200 pages are going to be the same target query, right? It's getting that bad. People are going to be publishing the same content, overlap themselves all day long. And that's all that's happened here, is that a new page has just taken the previous page's spot, and that it's fallen down a little bit because of the root authority not mattering as much in this update as it did last year. But all it has is dropped from 3rd to 4th. It's not a massive deal. And if you do some additional work, some additional link building, all that kind of things, maybe even more posts on the site, you'll probably be able to get that up to the 2nd or 1st spot, despite the PAA being in the 2nd spot there. That seems to be sticking. You'll also notice that actually, from previously to now, there are now 4 site links on there. So not only has Google maybe potentially devalued the query from 3rd to 4th, but it's actually added more pages into the query for the same website than it had before. And it's in the exact same thing for ABC Action News as well. So previously, when there was no site links in this for any website, there are now multiple site links, but only for Parasite pages. So in my opinion, that is showing how much stronger some advantages of Parasite SEO are getting in comparison to other forms of niche site building or SEO. So let's take a quick overview review of the August core update versus Parasite SEO, right? And why certain pages have dropped and why certain parasites have dropped and whilst some others have actually increased. And whilst other aspects of the algorithm are actually affecting the core pages that are ranking in SERPs even to a worse degree than what was previously ranking. So the very first thing is that trust signals have increased, right? Most of my e-commerce websites, if not my entire e-commerce portfolio, is up. And I put that down to two things. The first thing is that trust signals have increased. So authorship means more than it did previously. Site quality means more than it did previously. And in general, Google wants more real world trust signals that are either localized. So if it's going to be local keywords, like think of payday loans New York, or payday loans Dallas, or payday loans Texas, or things like that, right? They want more localized, on the ground trust signals. I'm talking citations, addresses, phone numbers for those areas. Content depth signals have also increased. That essentially means that the length of the post has gone up. So what used to work previously was maybe 3,000-4,000 word posts. Now you need 7,000-8,000 word posts, right? Content depth has increased massively. And in general, all that means in terms of authority sites is that length has increased as a ranking signal. Because in general, the higher you are dealing with, the higher authority you're dealing with individual websites, the more simplistic the ranking signals become. Right. All it does is if you add more pages if you add more words to the page, Google ranks the page higher now. That's basically all they've done. Right. They've just juiced up the content depth signals. That's it. Orphan pages have now been massively affected, and I think this is just to essentially target Parasite SEO specifically. But basically, all it does is if you are just buying one post on a site now, and that post hasn't got any other internal links or any contextual links from anywhere else on the website, Google's now somewhat affecting that page, right? Most of my parasites that have only got a singular page on the website have got hit in some way or another. However, almost all of the pages where I have got multiple supporting pages on the same site linking to it, those campaigns are all seeing boosts. So in general, if you can, try to avoid just buying individual posts and buy multiple Parasite pages from the same domain and try and interlink them as much as possible. Spam hacks and redirects are also working amazingly well right now. I shared a tweet recently that I'll put up somewhere down here, where it showed that these random sites that are just hacked redirect spam are ranking all over the place. And then somebody also replied showing that these porn redirects were ranking as well and just taking keywords away from dating SERPs. And that also seems to be a result of the August core update. It doesn't seem to be that those pages were ranking there previously. So again, whilst it might have devalued some Parasite pages ranking in those SERPs, it's now got hacked sites, malware, and redirect spam to porn sites ranking. So I'm not sure it's that great of a trade-off for Google in the end anyway. Now we're on to a short, quick-fire round of winners and losers. Now these are just going to be examples. Of course, it's not going to be every single Parasite site that is currently winning or losing in the SERPs from the August core update. However, I'm going to try and give you a fair few examples, and bear in mind that even after this, we're going to be diving a bit deeper into some other queries and some of the sites. Anyway, so they're going to be more than just the examples in this winners and losers category. So, on to the first winner. We have an Indian site called the Deccan Herald. It's gained around a 20 to 40% organic traffic gain since the August core algorithm update, and has taken a lot of different positions across the affiliate kind of space. Second one is Times of Israel. These guys have just been on an absolute tear for the last 6 months or so. They have been smashing it with their Spotlight Parasite category. They seemingly allow backlinks to a lot of their pages, and they rank for a ton of different queries. In general, these page, I think the site has gone up by about double the amount of traffic from the August core update. So that's specifically just for the subdirectory that people are using for Parasite SEO. The next one is Times Union. Now, Jackie Chow shared this on Twitter as an example of one that had gained quite a lot. This one seems to have gained around a 30 to 50% gain in organic traffic from the August core algorithm update. So again, another winner there. You have Live Mint, which is another Indian publication that has just been killing it again. They actually saw a quite big gain from the August core update, and then as soon as the update for the September one was announced, maybe about a week before then, they started to see a drop off. So it could have been the tail ends of the August core update. It could have just been some correction from the August core update when it completed, or it could have been the kind of starting point of the September update. Either or, it saw a big gain and then it saw a bit of a bounce back as well, a bit of a reversion. However, it still saw a lot more of a gain than it did a loss. And it's actually about quadrupled in organic traffic since the last 3 months or so. And it's continuing to rise even after the update. It seems to be still pulling in more positions even after that knockdown again. Next we have the Pittsburgh paper. These guys saw a bit of a bounce back to their levels in April. So they seem to have gotten a bit of a hit on the specific category or the specific subcategory that's being used for parasites, which is the Pittsburgh one. And again, this sort of parasite is probably better sorted to the parasite, to the Pittsburgh area, or if it's topically relevant to specific ones, that's when you're going to be wanting to try and use it to abuse its topical relevancy and authority. Seattle Met is another one that has gained about double the amount of traffic in the last 3 months or so and gained another 20 to 40% boost from the August update. Then we have another Indian site, NDTV. This site has absolutely slayed rankings for a handful of pages in the August core update. You'll see that they have gone from hardly any traffic actually on their brand content subcategory to almost 100,000 visits a month according to Ahrefs, and they're ranking for a lot of different terms. Another Indian website, kind of a rival to Outlook India, is Hindustan Times. Again, they just rank for everything, and they, similar to the other site that I was talking about, which was I think Live Mint, they saw a bit of a correction from an initial surge and almost basically a double in traffic originally from the August core update, and then a bit of a reversion where they lost about 20 to 30% of that gain, but still overall up 60 to 70% in organic traffic just from this August core update alone. Then we have PDX Monthly, which is another parasite that is very, very popular in the CBD, THC, kratom, and those kind of bad niche neighborhood kind of links, all sorts like pill-related SERPs as well. But in general, as you can see, there have been a lot of sites that have had some absolutely massive gains that are in the Parasite SEO space and that can still be highly utilized for Parasite SEO. Now let's get on to some of the losers. Right, and to start off the losers, I want to show you a bit of an interesting parasite that I guarantee 99% of you will have never seen before. And this is a EDU-backed parasite that is quite common, where essentially you get administrators or web admins or webmasters, whatever, who operate the college or university websites, and they implement software or they implement CMSs or content management systems that are vulnerable to Parasite SEO exploitation. And that is the exact case here with PSU Collegian. Their for students subdomain has basically been abused to rank for tons of casino terms, despite the university only being a DR55. I think the real reason it kind of has jumped so high is because of the limited pages that it's got on it and the style of pages that it's got on it. But again, these pages are killing it for casino terms. So they're probably bringing in commissions in the tens of thousands of dollars, and it's probably generating over 100,000 visits a month in traffic already. But again, they saw a bit of a fall from the update, and then instead of having a reversion where they climbed up and then dropped, they dropped and then have climbed up. So they've kind of done the opposite effect of what some of the other sites that won have done. And I think that's again down to the fact that they have got more trust signals than most of those other websites. So because it's a college, it's a university, they've got all of these additional trust signals that most of the other websites don't have. And because trust signals got such a boost in this algorithm update, I think that's why they saw an initial drop, because they saw drops due to the Parasite SEO targeting from those signals. And then they saw an increase due to the trust signals and the quality of the university website. And another one that saw a massive drop off in about 50% loss in traffic was Dallas News. Now, this is one that I'm not really surprised about because they're similar to Outlook India, similar to News Direct, where they're just playing fast and loose, publishing any content that they can kind of get their hands on, taking very cheap payments, $300, $400, $200 in some cases for sponsored branded posts on their site. And they were publishing to a degree of over 100 published piece of content per day. So again, I'm not really surprised that they saw a massive drop off because their quality was low, their publish rate was high, their price was cheap, and they were being abused by a lot of different SEOs. And again, because they're more geo-localized to Dallas and the Texas area, they were ranking across the US. They're ranking in like the UK in Israel and in Canada and all sorts of different countries, despite it being a state geolocalized newspaper, right? The other one is WTVR.com. They saw a pretty big loss, again, which is just kind of coinciding with more recent losses that they have sustained throughout this year. This is one that I don't really massively recommend. It's pretty expensive, and they have been routinely kind of screwing with people who have been posting on the website, taking a lot of crap posts in, not really managing their rules correctly. You know, a lot of sites will tell you that you're not allowed to build links or you're not allowed certain niches. These guys kind of have ignored that for larger payments. And again, the quality of the pages in general is pretty poor. So I'm not really surprised that they saw a loss. And then on to the obvious ones. First off, obviously, is Outlook India. And I've got a bit of a custom insight into Outlook India because I've got one of the guys on the inside of Outlook India who's got more access than the majority of people, right? So first of all, they saw about a 28% loss in traffic month over month, right? So overall they've only lost about 20% in traffic on the Outlook Spotlight subdirectory, which is the subdirectory for Parasite SEO. So on the specific Parasite SEO subdirectory for Outlook India, not on the rest of the website, which we don't care about, they've seen a 28% loss on traffic. And this is by far the number one site that everybody has been talking about in terms of SEO. So you would have expected this loss to actually be a lot more substantial than it is, especially considering they're publishing over 200 pages a day. And again, as we already talked about, a lot of those pages are probably overlapping each other, trying to rank for the same keywords, cannibalizing each other, spam backlinks pointed at them. As you can see, they have 18 million backlinks and 136 referring domains just to that singular subdirectory. In general, they have tens of thousands of pages indexed for this category, and I'm not surprised if they continue to see further sustained losses in future algorithm updates. They also saw around 2,500 pages flat de-indexed, so that is just Google straight up removed and de-indexed completely 2,500 pages from this category. And again, they had that publishing frequency of over 200 pages a day, which is way too damn high. News Direct is another one that probably saw the biggest loss out of any site in the kind of space. It saw about a 60% drop in organic traffic. I've seen multiple instances of the posts on this subdirectory going from around the second, third, fourth position to number 6, number 7, number 8. A lot of instances of them being in positions 4 and 5 and then just dropping off the first page completely. So I'm again not surprised by these losses, and yet, despite these losses, despite the claims of many in SEO of Google targeting these two websites, and that these two websites specifically have got annihilated in the hands of Google's wrath of being able to influence the search algorithms. Well, actually, for no deposit casinos, which is one of the biggest keywords, it has about 55,000 search volume in the US, and it's one of the biggest affiliate keywords in the US. It's still ranked number 2. Outlook India is number 2, and News Direct is number 4, with pages that, according to Ahrefs, are worth $109,000 and $141,000, with a very, very high likelihood that these two pages are generating the affiliates behind them in the range of $50,000 a month individually. So there is a very, very unlikely chance that Google has actually taken significant of an effect to really annihilate these sites individually, let alone Parasite SEO as a whole. And these two sites are kind of the picture or the cover child, would I say, for the Parasite SEO technique. And as a result, you can kind of show that not only this SERP, which is casino related to one of the biggest affiliate terms of the world, but also for dating sites, Outlook India is still number 1 with a page with very little referring domain that is, according to according to Ahrefs, worth $87,500. And to kind of move on from that as well, there's been a new argument kind of surfacing in SEO around these yellow sites that I'm pointing at. Things like The Telegraph, things like Forbes, things like Good Housekeeping, all of these sites that are effectively utilizing Parasite SEO on their own website. So they're either partnering with other companies and other affiliate services, like The Telegraph does with betting experts to rank for all sorts of UK-based casino keywords, and like Forbes does with various other affiliate companies and partnerships, to take over and rank for various keywords. There's even, for an example, with Pillar 4 is using Sports Illustrated with an exclusive license to produce content on Sports Illustrated, and they've been taking over health-related and sports-related queries by the dozen, by the day on the si.com domain because of how many trust signals and how much authority that domain has. But in general, you can see that certain sites are picking up the fact that because they have so much domain authority, they can just rank for whatever keyword they see fit. And a lot of people are complaining that it is even less fair than people promoting and buying sponsored posts on the other one. So I thought I'd just throw that in there, that even if the other sites like Outlook India and like NewsDirect and Chicago Reader and this certain things do inevitably kind of get hit, that even whilst those sites get hit, there are other sites still abusing the same concept and the same tactic. And whilst those sites might get hit, you can always swap and recycle to another parasite, which is exactly what we're going to get onto next. So onto my theory, and if you've been following me for any amount of time, you'll know that I've got a lot of SEO theories and that they're all backed up by data and examples and a culmination of data rather than just being theories, right? They are practice, they're in practice, they have data backed. They're not just me theorizing in my room. Google can't actually ever hit root authority, right? That's because Google is a link-based algorithm. They have to favor root authority in some way or another for their algorithm to work in the first place. And that's why Parasite SEO has been a thing and has worked and has continued to be perpetuated and work even more in this year and has worked for the last 15 years. And I think it has increased the work because root authority has actually gotten more important this year because content signals due to AI content have gotten weaker. So instead of hitting root authority, instead of hitting the kind of signals and stuff that people are using, like sponsored tags and things like that, they just hit specific sites. They just hit specific subdirectories, and they just hit specific signals around specific users, networks, that kind of thing, right? So instead of going after the main thing that will actually be able to stop Parasite SEO from working in the first place, they kind of just put a band-aid on it and stop certain sites from ranking as well as they previously did, so that the SEO industry kind of loses mind and tells you, like they have been doing, that Parasite SEO is dead, that it no longer works, when that obviously, as we've already seen, is definitely not the case. So this leads to a cycle of sites that are either potent or impotent. And whilst, yes, I say that some sites might be impotent, that's still not really fully the case. And it's probably the wrong word to be using. That's because topical relevancy analysis is still number one, right? If a parasite has got hit by Google and it is still topically relevant to your keywords, it's still a topical authority in your keywords and topic, then you should still be utilizing it. It doesn't matter if it's just seen a 50, 60% loss in traffic. It's still authoritative and it will still rank by itself and generically for your keywords by itself. So topical relevance analysis is still number one, despite the fact that there is this cycle of sites that are either potent and impotent. And the potent versus impotent analysis is more so on free websites, right? More so than the paid websites. It's more so on free websites, which is exactly with the case that is happening with LinkedIn Pulse, which is one of the websites that a lot of you will have probably been seeing over the last couple of months because it has been on a tear. It's basically back to its former glory, as you will see in this graph, where the traffic, when it initially launched, so LinkedIn Pulse launched in 2015, and it kind of started having this slow traction until SEOs really realized that you could utilize it as a parasite and rank for whatever the hell you wanted to. And it saw a meteoric rise, as is the case whenever the SEO community get its hands on anything. And then it saw a meteoric downfall when Google hit it to stop SEOs from being able to use it as a parasite. However, in my opinion, those hits are temporary, and usually they last the time frame of Google's cache, which is 2 years, right? Google caches pages for 2 years. And that kind of almost perfectly lines up with our time frame here, where you see the fall off in 2019 or the end of 2018, the start of 2019, and then you see this slight recovery at the end of 2021, and then you just see this absolute boom in traffic going into 2023. This is kind of proof again that my theory is in of itself correct. So the main point of it is that some sites are going to be better in certain scenarios than others, and that throughout your Parasite SEO career, you're wanting to be cycling through different websites. You're not going to be wanting to put your eggs in one basket and rely on the same website to rank for everything. You're going to need to be cycling through different websites and then potentially recycling other ones that you would have used to use in the past. And LinkedIn post specifically is and will be, continue to be, a true generic authority, right? This is what I mean. Some parasites are going to rank really well for casino because they are authorities like sports and betting and that kind of thing. Some are going to rank really well for healthcare because they're authorities in healthcare and diseases and things like that. They did loads of coverage of COVID and now Google trusts them as a healthcare authority. Whereas when you start dealing with sites that are DR95 plus, like LinkedIn is, these kind of websites, and even Outlook India, which is like a DR90, these kind of websites start to become true generic authorities. They are able to rank for all sorts of different keywords. And if we just take this as an example, these kind of queries that it's currently ranking for, you look at the top of the site, you have got Unblocked Games Premium, which basically is obviously dealing with unblocking games so that you can unlock games that you would normally pay for. Then you have Laws of the Universe. Then you have like Plenty of Fish. Then you have Hustlers University. Then you have Elon Musk. Then you have Feet Finder. Then you have Ghost Commerce. Then you have messages for out of office. You have every single topic you can imagine because it, again, is a true generic authority. And I encourage you to start utilizing these LinkedIn posts, Parasite pages, as much as you can. Just bear in mind that if there's already a post page ranking in the top 100, it's going to be significantly harder for you to rank for that same keyword. So try and get keywords that don't already have a post page ranking in the top 100, and they will allow you to rank a lot better than if you are trying to outrank a page that is already in that SERP. So what should you be focusing on right now, right? The very, very first thing I would be doing is making sure that you're analyzing which site's the best for your topical authority versus the cost to maximize the ROI from them. If you've done my training in the past, you'll know that everything is ROI focused. Every single piece of analysis, every piece of keyword, everything should be tracked and analyzed before you make any decision. So you should be able to forecast upfront how much money you're going to be able to make from your Parasite page ranking number 1 for a given query, based on the commissions, based on the monthly search volume, and the CTR averages for your niche. Once you've been able to do that, you should be able to then know which parasite at the costs of acquiring that page, so how much it's going to cost you to build that page in the first place, is going to give you the highest ROI based on how good they are at ranking in that SERP. So all we want to do is make sure that we're going to get the cheapest possible deal on the best possible parasite to rank for the keywords they're going to be able to maximize the return investment. If there's a parasite that you think is going to go to number 2, but it's 10 times cheaper than the one that you're going to think is going to go to number 1, and it's going to be a significant dent in your return investment to go to number 1, then just go for that cheaper parasite and put in that little bit of extra effort in the content and links, so it saves you maybe $1,000 or $2,000 in cost to acquire that bit more expensive parasite, when in actuality you're only going to be making a couple $1,000s a month from that SERP anyway. So just making sure that you're going to be analysing the sites to know which one is going to be best for your topical authority, how expensive they are, and then forecast the prediction of how much money you'll be making from the SERP to then analyse which sites will be the best for which SERP and which will give you the highest ROI possible. That is what I recommend first. Then you should be tracking competing parasite pages and the potential parasites you should be using, right? So all you're wanting to be doing is making sure that you're going to be tracking parasite pages of competitors to see what they've changed, ranking position changes, if they have new parasite pages coming out, if they have new parasite pages being released, all these kind of things, right? As well as the fact you want to be tracking potential parasite sites that you're going to use. All that means is that if you have a list of sites that you're going to be potentially using in the Parasite SEO game, then just track the pages that you think are at least somewhat relevant to you and see how they perform over time. That should then mean that if in a month or 2 months or 3 months down the line, when you actually want to buy that parasite, you should be able to know how well those pages have performed over the 6 weeks, over the 8 weeks, over the 12 weeks, to then be able to calculate how well you're going to be able to get an ROI out of those pages over a more long-term period than rather short-term success periods that that a lot of people are looking for from the Parasite game. And finally, I want you to maximize successful SERPs and niches. All that means is that if you've currently got one parasite ranking in a SERP or in a niche, and then it's doing really well, then I want you to build a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, right? You just want to be able to maximize your SERP realty and how much you're going to be able to get out of that SERP, and stop other competitors from coming in when you control first, second, third, fourth, and fifth in that SERP, right? It will put off competitors seeing that you're controlling the top 5 positions from even attempting to come into it in the first place. And finally, to finish things off, I'm going to give you a few thoughts on the September helpful content update that was released literally 12 or 14 hours ago as of recording this video. So I'm going to be releasing a full analysis video of the September helpful content update once it's completed inside the course. So again, if you want to pick that up and get access to the course itself and all my update videos and all my future update videos that will not be released publicly, only inside the course, you can use that link in the description down below to get $200 off. So my first thoughts is that international parasites, as per usual, will not be as affected as English parasites. Usually whenever Parasite SEO is affected in English SERPs, it actually has a boost in foreign parasites, right? So if you are building parasites in Spanish or in German or French or in other countries, right, which have a high GDP per capita and use Google and primarily search in foreign languages, then you are going to be safe, and I would recommend you put more investment into your parasites in those languages. Google did directly, for the first time ever, quote this technique though. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some more turbulence in the category in the meantime. Google said, and a direct quote is, if you host third-party content on your main site or any subdomains, understand that such content may be included in site-wide signals you generate, such as helpful contentness updates. Helpful contentness of content. For this reason, if that content is largely independent of the main site's purpose or produced without close supervision or the involvement of the primary site, we recommend that it should be blocked from being indexed by Google. If parasites actually follow along with this, is yet to be seen. I have yet to see any sites actually doing this, and obviously if some sites are selling $2,000 a post and they're selling 20 a day, they don't want to turn off that cash stream anytime soon, especially for newspapers who have been hemorrhaging money for a long time. Parasite SEO is probably a godsend to them that we're actually feeding these dying companies money in the first place. So I believe that Google will likely come after it in some degree or another, but it will still be subdirectory based and it won't take out the majority of the industry. But time will tell. I don't like to give any specific evidence until I actually get through the update itself. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as if you like the course itself, like the content in this, you're going to love the course even more. You can grab that in the link in the description down below. I've been Charles Floate. Hope you enjoy the content as per usual. Peace.